gentlemen, to whom it concerns, it's The Late Late Show. And here is your host, Gay Byrne.
My friends, thank you so much, my friends, and good evening, and welcome to The Late Late Show. A slightly different setup on The Late Late Show tonight compared with our normal setup, and I'll explain to you about that in just a few moments. But first of all, my friends, as you know, it has been the tradition on The Late Late Show for the last 94 years or thereabouts, on the week before the Eurovision Song Contest, that we invite the performer or the group who going to represent Ireland in the competition to come along and join us on the show so that we can give them a fond farewell and wish them the best of luck. Tonight, of course, is no exception. We have a song by Sally Keating and a group from Sligo who about this time next week will be beginning to feel the nerves. Let's wish them the very best of luck. Ladies and gentlemen, the Duskies. That's it, the Duskies for Harrogate next week, and it's sounding pretty good. We'll all be rooting for them, I know. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've been to Cork several times, and for various things and so on. And somehow or another, the night I was there always developed into a bit of a hoolie. And I found myself in various places, surrounded by good friends, very talented crowd of people, and it fell into a sort of a noble cause situation where everybody got up to do their song or their turn or whatever, and we had a great night. And for quite some time now, I have wanted to transfer that kind of thing to the Late Late Show, and tonight is the night. We are surrounded by Corkonians in the studio tonight. There are one or two interlopers from the rest of the country, but about 90% of the people in the studio tonight are from Cork. And here on our panel, we'd like to greet David McInerney and Mr. Joe Lynch, and Mr. Chris Curran, and Billa O'Connell, and James N. Healy, and Chris Sheehan, and Neil Tobin. And what is going to happen? Yes, you can give them a welcome. That's right. Very good. We are starting well. Normally, that is my folder for the Late Late Show, which I bring with me on the show every week. I buy that folder at the beginning of the season, and it lasts me right through to the end of the season. The DG nearly had a heart attack during the week. He said he found out I was thinking of buying a new one at this time of the season, but however. Now, normally that is full of notes and research stuff and interview bits and so on. Nothing in it tonight. Absolutely nothing. Nothing, because I don't know what's going to happen. Haven't the faintest idea what's going to happen. Now, well, now, I don't know where we have a lovely performers. They're going to do all sorts of things. Let's start with Neil Tobin down the far end. Noble call, as it were. Now,
he's been to Cork a few times.
He has. He's right enough. Right enough. Now, Neil, they say, and we've often been told, that Cork people have a particular sense of humour, a particular biting wit. You've studied humour from all over the world in the course of your work. Is this true?
Well, I don't know, because tell you the truth, I'm flat out at the moment.
Before he starts.
I'm flat out because I'm rehearsing all day.
What's this?
Are you going to ask me what I'm rehearsing?
What are you rehearsing all day?
Me Cork accent. Because I left there about 19...
Yes. The Boer War.
To get back to your question about this business of a peculiar... Well, they say that about every town in the world, and of course, it is just not true, except, of course, in the case of Cork. And there is, what I think, there is one very distinctive thing, and that is a great ability to cut you down to size. It happened you by...
It did.
But
It happened Alan Rickard.
it can happen, and I know one example of this. Generally, the way is to get you to agree with a serious proposition that you don't really agree with at all, and then when you've agreed, they shoot you down. And my own favourite example was on a Stephen's morning in a pub in Cork, and there was a man, he's there, and he's having a little cure like, you know, and she's not going down too well, and it's not going up too well either. And he's trying to get in, and the least noise is very upsetting, and somebody is asked to sing a song, and he sings The Holy City, you see, and he comes to the... And the noise is going right through his head. But finally, when the applause dies down, the song is over, he turns to me and he said, "Come here." He sang that beautiful, didn't he? I said, "Oh, yeah, he did, yeah. Lovely voice, haven't he?" "Oh, yes. A gorgeous song, isn't it?" I said, "Oh, yes. Oh, his enemy, yes." A public house is no place to be singing hymns. And that's...
What? You have one? Dave McInerney.
There are a few fellas gay on this panel who were in a show years and years ago called Holiday Rebels.
Yes.
Because I remember as a boy watching Joe Lynch and Chris. and Chris Sheehan, and no, Bill, that was my age. So
You'll be contributing to my pension, you know that.
But this particular night there was a sketch on, and the basis of the sketch was two Corkonians. I know one was Sean Healy, God be good to him. I don't know who the other was, but they were selling a dog on Patrick's Bridge. The dog's name was Ball of Fire. So there they were with this mongrel at the end of a bit of string. "There you are, no miss, Ball of Fire, he's sound in wind and limb." And this was the basis of the sketch. Well, this went on night after night for about 4 or 5 weeks. And one night, out they came, Ball of Fire, sound in wind and limb, and Ball of Fire lifted his leg and relieved himself all over the stage. The place, of course, broke apart, and from the back of the old gods in the opera house, I said, "Hey, they put out your Ball of Fire for you."
You have more, Neil? You have more examples of this sort of thing?
Well, I might think of one in a minute. Carry on, Dale.
Carry on.
He's going to his notes. He spoke about the Cork accent.
Yes.
You know, there are lots of kind of Cork accents. You mightn't realise that up here with your very fine Dublin one, you know.
Yes.
But the Cork accent is a very particular thing. And it came from a number of different things as it happened. Now, first of all, there was St. Finbar. He was from the west of Ireland, you know, and he came down and
It's just worked in London.
little west stuff, you see. And then, of course, after that, the Danes came up the river, and they gave us a bit of a Scandinavian touch. I don't know what that is, to tell you the truth. But they built their own little city, and then the Welsh Normans came over, you know, and took over the place. And after them, you know, came the English to beat each other around in the off-season, and us as well, of course. And in the end of that, there came the Huguenots. The French refugees, for God's sake. They came over at that time, and the harsh real part that you get down the coal. Were you ever down the coal quay?
No.
Were you? I was. The bit you get down the coal quay, that comes from them, you know? Johnny, come in, like an invitation, Johnny, come in and get his ears spanked, you see? And then, of course, there's the other end of the social scale, you know? Comes from Montenotte. In its better phase now, that's like somebody eating a warm potato and giving you confidence
Here,
at
I
the same
resent
time.
that now.
You
I think
know?
he's getting at me.
And then, you didn't come from there, by. The other kind is you get, I call it the Rocher stores, actually. Really, it applies to any shop, you know. Come here, we're going to cross her this summer again. We've a bungalow took. Of course, we're going to, for a real holiday later on, to Majorca. But the real accent, the real accent comes from where Jack comes from, right, Neil?
That's right.
That's spoken,
God bless him, lovely.
spoken out of the corner of the mouth, and with a sense of irony. Irony. That means now saying one thing and meaning another, like, you know. How's your old one? Game ball? Oh, no, that really means, how's your mother? But it really means, I hear she's on the booze again. You know? But you'll be welcome in the pubs of Blackpool if you're not from Cork. You'll be welcome there any time, like the flowers of May. Except they don't come out for a few months yet.
Who's going to sing a song?
Go on.
David. Have a song.
Before McInerney sings, the pubs of Cork, you remember the young gentleman who won the Brain of Britain?
Yes.
I went into the local pub one morning shortly after that and said, wasn't it great him winning the Brain of Britain? Because you see him, we've dropped him off our team because he hasn't been up to scratch lately. I swear, absolutely true.
Davy,
That's true.
sing. Who's on?
Come on,
Who's on? You have a piece of paper sticking out of your pocket there. Oh, Frank Duggan is there, ready to go.
A dream in my heart, one love to be living for, one love to be living for. This nearly was mine, one girl for my dream, one partner in paradise, this promise of paradise, this nearly was mine. Close to my heart she came, only to fly away, only to fly as day flies from moonlight. Now I'm alone, still dreaming of a paradise, still saying that paradise once nearly was mine. So clear and deep are my fancies of the things I wish were true. I keep remembering evenings I wished I'd spent with you. I keep remembering kisses from lips I'll never own, and all the lovely adventures that we have never known. Now I'm alone, still dreaming of paradise, still saying that paradise once nearly was mine.
Well done, David. So wasn't that lovely? Well done, David. That's beautiful. Really beautiful.
I saw a
Thank
few
you.
faces and feet. You see, down there in the front row, Gay, there's the people who sort of beat music into you. There's a guy up in the back over there that taught me how to sing first. And then a girl down there, a woman, got her feet in, and I could see her there, bang, bang, bang. Make sure you have it in the right key anyway, she'd say. That's Pat Campbell down there.
Mrs. Campbell, good evening to you and welcome. Indeed.
Deported from Cork, eh?
Deported from Cork, yes.
Yeah.
God love them.
Married a Dubliner, God, what do you
That's right,
expect?
so there you are.
Jimmy Campbell's not a Dubliner now.
Jimmy Campbell is son of the famous Jimmy.
Of the Jimmy Campbell, that's
of generations of
He's a Cork man now.
There you are
You see, McInerney, if you had Mrs. Campbell, if you had Mrs. Campbell banging her foot, I had Jimmy Campbell Senior giving me good advice with the old bat tongue, you know.
They all want to.
He pulled many a show through over Sunday, didn't he?
Listen to me. Is it true? I never heard of Joe Lynch and Chris Curran doing a duet, but I was told before the show that you
Shall
do
we
a
grow
duet.
up
Oh, they're
in one
high
place,
class
bang?
musicians. High class.
Really?
We grew up in the same place, huh?
How did the duet come about? I mean, what do you do?
I don't know. It's, I suppose, out of sheer boredom. You know, we know television in those days, you know. No, see, actually, we were never bored. You know that? You know, out where we come from now, there was no television. One radio set to a street in the time, you know. And it was great fun. We were never bored.
Do you want to do
This
the
fellow
duet
was
now?
always playing instruments, you see.
Yeah,
Anything, except the tin whistle.
Except the tin.
I had to teach him that. It took me a whole half an hour to teach him what I learned in 10 years. He's slow, you know. He's
Go
very,
on, do you
he's
want-
very dim.
Do you want to do
Give us
the
a-
duet? Go on, do the duet.
Encourage them.
This is good now. This is very high-class stuff now. Could we have a bit of hush for this, because this is very
I
serious.
don't worry about this, it's insured. Slower by. Now, Michael McGilligan, one fine day, got a lot of money from the USA, all through the death of his Uncle Joe. He was left $1.5 million or so, says McGilligan. I'll give a fancy ball down at the old ancestral hall. Invited the neighbors, everyone, to join in the frolic and to have some fun. So, they all went down to Mick McGilligan's ball, where they had to tear the paper off the wall to make room for all the people in the hall. All the girls and the boys made a dimple of a noise at Mick McGilligan's ball. And away to Mick McGilligan's ball. Now all of the neighbors came from near and far. Slattery arrived in a motor car, and now Mrs. Riley, bless her heart, landed on the doorstep in an ass and cart. McGilligan arrived by aeroplane. We got to, we'll never see the likes again. And up went the cheer when the two owl skins came along at the gallop with the two miscreants. So they all went down to Mick McGilligan's ball, where they had to tear the paper off the wall to make room for all the people in the hall. All the girls and the boys made the dimple of a noise at Mick McGilligan's ball. dimple of a noise that make McGilligan's roar.
There's talent for it.
Getting old. The only thing they didn't do was the dance. Lads, he forgot to do that. He had a dance rehearsed.
We're worn down, but we're not worn out.
Does anybody know here how long exactly Chris Sheehan has been playing the romantic lead in so many shows? Could any?
Here you go. I met him first in 1944.
You've forgotten, Chris.
Well, I met him in 44. Let's check back. Little detective work. 44, any advance, any decrease on
I say
44?
42.
Oh, I saw him.
I only met him like
41.
42.
I saw him in 41.
42.
41.
I'm working with him now because I wasn't there in 42.
I like time in 41.
Chris, tell them about the bishop, the one you told me before.
The what?
Tell them about the bishop, Chris.
Well, we were doing a religious play at the time, Jim Stack, who, God be good to him, who, to my mind, he was the man, producer.
Yeah.
But he decided anyway on the opening night to invite the bishop. Now that was Bishop Corner, back, who at the time was 93 years of age.
That's right, Bishop Danny Call.
So Jim went up to the palace and into the bishop. Your lordship, he said, spoke frightfully grand, you know. Your lordship, he said, we're doing a religious play and I'd like you to come along tonight. I'm sure you'd enjoy it. Sure, I don't go much at all at late now. Yeah. Well, if you'll come along, he said, we'll have a special box for you. There's lots of people like to see me in a special box.
No, there's a tag.
But the run-up to that is...
Yes.
He used to walk from the palace to the North Cathedral, which is about...
600 yards. 600 yards.
To confession, may God be good to us. We have no chance. But anyway, of course, all the kiddies used to be kissing his ring, you know, snotty noses and what have you. So anyway, a woman approached him one day and she said, how's your lordship? Who are we? Kitty Murphy, your lordship. Oh, Kitty, How are you, Kitty? I'm all right, your lordship, but it's the doctor. And what's wrong with the doctor? She's in the family way, your lordship. When she's my age, Kitty, she'll be in everyone's way.
He was a very big and very strong man who marched through Cork, I think it was 96, carrying the monstrance, you know, in front of him in a special harness. And he was an incredibly powerful man. And when he was dying, he kind of lasted a long time. And he lived up the road from me. He was our parish priest, by the way. He regarded himself as our parish priest in the parish.
Old, Joe?
Huh?
I think you're that old.
Oh, yeah. I was his altar boy for a good number of years, actually. And that's true. That is true.
Joe, if we touch you, we get indulgence.
Well, it's different. A bishop's mass is served slightly differently, you know. There are
Twice as long, yeah.
No, it's any altar boy would understand. But anyway, he had a great sense of humour. And one of his great friends was the then Protestant Bishop of Cork, who was a relatively much younger man. And Dr. Hurley, his Monsignor and secretary, came in and he said, my lord, he said, I know you're not feeling very well. He was dying for him, and he said, but you'll be saddened, he said, by the news that your dear friend, he said, the Protestant Bishop of Cork has passed on to his ward. He said, poor fellow. Sure, God loved him, he said, he was only 78. God bless him in the prime of his life. Poor fellow, God be good to him now. Bed in heaven. He said, my lord, are you all right? He said, yes. I'm just thinking, God love him, but now he knows who's Bishop of Cork.
I like that. Villa.
I had the notion of telling the story on the late, but when you started speaking about the bishop, Danny Hobbs had a fantastic story. When Dr. Lucy was the Bishop of Cork, right? Or when Dr. Collin was the Bishop of Cork, Dr. Connie was kind of a court juror. He was waiting.
He was waiting in the wings. Yes.
He was in the second division, waiting to go up to the first division. You see. And then Hobbs, you say that they were at home up in the palace, up in the north side, playing darts and playing rings. And this night they were doing the crosswords. And Dr. Lucy was finished before Dr. Collin. You're kind of stuck, says Connie. Lucy, I am, says Dan, says I'm caught here, says he, 7 down, says he, and 4 across. They're looking for a 4-letter word, beginning with S and finishing with T. And 'tis a substitute for fertilizer. That's quite easy, says Dr. Lucy. The word is soot. Oh, that's right, says Dan. Pass me the rubber.
I thought it was going to be the one about Dr. Lucy, a clue in the Cork Examiner crossword, and it said the bishop coming downstairs and was condescending.
Oh, good game. We started out speaking about Christian, right?
Yes, Christian. Who was the next bishop of Cork?
Oh, no, I know.
No, we went from the all priesthood to the all bishops.
But that's a change.
I think
We might have done better.
I think anybody who remembers Christian will remember him for the Desert Song.
Yes.
You know.
There was only one red shadow.
The red shadow. May his red shadow never go away.
The most extraordinary things can happen to you in a show. You're there on the stage, you know, the Red Shadow has a dual part to play. He's the bumbling Pierre and he's the Red Shadow, the dashing hero. And then all of a sudden your concentration can be destroyed simply by somebody. Chris, tell them about the night that you were really walking into the drama.
Well, Josephine O'Hagan was the soprano, Margot, and she had a most, look, you put up your thing to her and she'd burst out laughing. And when I mean laugh. And I was as Pierre with her in the stage, packed house. We was good packed house at that time, yeah. But packed house and boxes on either side, you know, right onto the stage. So I said, look, Margot, I said, where do I stand? And then I had to turn from her as directed and walk a few paces. And she said, tell me exactly. But I walked a few paces, looked up, and I fell inside in the box, said, hello, Chris. Convulsions from your woman. I had to go upstairs to know where I was.
He's still good for the song.
What?
He's still good for the song.
Will you sing a song,
He's
Chris?
still good.
Come on, sing a song. Come on, sing a song.
Okay.
Where's Frank Duggan? Are you there, Frank? What are you going to do for us, Chris? I should think of it when you get over there. It doesn't matter. Make up your mind when you get over there. Sure. I can't keep a check on everything.
My name is Paddy Leary from a spot called Tipperary. The hearts of all the gals, sure I'm a thorny. But before the break of morn, fate is they'll be all forlorn. For I'm off to Philadelphia in the morning. With me bundle on me shoulder, faith that no man could be bolder. I'm leaving dear old Ireland without warning. For I lately took the notion for to cross the briny ocean. And I start for Philadelphia in the morning. There's a lass called Kate Malone whom I'd hope to call my own, and to see my little cabin floor adorning. But my heart is sad and weary. How can she be Mrs. Leary? If I start for Philadelphia in the morning. Me bundle on me shoulder, think there's no man could be bolder. I'm leaving dear old Ireland without warning. For I lately took the notion for to cross the briny ocean. And I start for Philadelphia in the morning. slave the place. I tried to keep a cheerful face, but to show my heart's deep sorrow, I was scorning. For the tears will surely blind me, for the friends I leave behind me. When I start for Philadelphia in the morning, and though my bundle's on my shoulder, and though no man could be bolder, I'm leaving now the spot where I was born in. Sure, someday I'll take the notion to come home across the ocean, to my home in dear old Ireland in the morning.
Now, Chris, I want to say something to you. Sit down. I've heard of so many people in show business. Sit yourself down now. Make yourself at home. But I've heard of so many people in show business who claim that their trousers split on stage. But you, apparently, it really did happen to, right?
The same soprano. The same soprano.
Oh, huh?
Yes.
Didn't know she was like that.
It was the Vagabond King, you see, and we got costumes from Simmons of London, but this time we got them from Dublin. Yeah. Simmons was burned down, you remember? Donald. But anyway, we got these costumes, and for some strange reason or other, I never tried on these pantaloons. You know. But anyway, I'll always remember the dialogue, the words, the dialogue, as you call it. And it was in the cellar of the Vagabond, and this gorgeous creature appeared. And I walked over and said, if all my dreams of loveliness were pieced together into one perfect woman, she would have been like you. No more than a grain of dirt falling from your gown, and yet I love you, Lady Catherine. I love it. The whole arse fell out of me breeches.
There was another...
Collapsed completely. Yes,
There was
James.
another
Yes.
story about the Vagabond King, too. I think it was the same production, Chris. A great friend of all of ours, yours, Chris, Kern particularly, and mine, passed on now. But he was a wonderful character. In the first act of the Vagabond King, you know, all the vagabonds are on the stage. This gentleman had had a few pints before he came on. And they're a long time on stage, you know, and it was a little difficult. So he began to feel a bit what we call short-taken. So he said, gather round me, boys. But the one thing he forgot was that, of course, there was what we call a rake on the stage, a slope. So the ladies in the orchestra got a very unpleasant surprise.
But, Dave, yes.
I was
yes,
just, you know, with Chris, with his problems about the sopranos,
Yes.
you know, you can really have problems with sopranos.
Yeah.
Jim and I did The Merry Widow many, many years ago, and we brought over from London, Jim brought over a fantastic soprano by the name of Joyce Blackham. And in the last scene of The Merry Widow, she appeared in what I subsequently described as her doggy dress. She said to me one night, what do you mean? I said, when you bow, wow. Anyway, the very last scene of The Merry Widow, Jim had directed me that I go on my knees when I discover everything is okay. Anna, I love you, I love you, I love you. Beautiful lines. Occasionally she'd put her hands on my shoulder, but now and again she sort of dragged me into this deep décolletage that she was wearing. And one night coming off the stage... Revealing. And just as I was getting up off my knees, coming off the stage, one of the lads in the chorus said, well, fair play to you, Mac. He says, that's the best pair of earmuffs I ever saw for the wearing.
Hold it. Since we are talking about sopranos, ladies and gentlemen, we have a beautiful young lady from Cork with us tonight. And she was part of our talent contest last year on The Late Late Show. and she came in second, and we really thought she was quite beautiful, and she is, and she's going from strength to strength in show business ever since. Now with our own Frank McNamara at the piano, would you welcome please Mary Hegarty. Mary.
Through the love bewildered man, and his sight as a hapless lover can. Vilia, oh Vilia, the witch of the wood, would I not die for you, dear, if I could? Beckoned him into the shade of the cave. He never had known such rapturous bliss, no maiden of mortals so sweetly can kiss. As before her feet he lay, she vanished in the wood away.
Thank you very much. That now to me is just sheer joy. Just sheer joy. You can indeed, James. You can sheer joy. Thank you very much.
Could I get a small plug in there?
What's that, James?
To say that Mary will be doing The Merry Widow in Cork with us in the School of Music in June.
Very well. All right. And incidentally, tonight she has a sore throat. All I can say is, long may she have a sore throat. That's the way she sounds. We're taking a break now. We'll be back in a few minutes with the next part of the show. See you then. Thank you. Lovely night.
Must trot around and inspect the property scene. Now that's what I call a gorgeous gloss. Dulux, by the looks of it. I do like to be beside the sea, but exteriors like that need the great protector, Dulux Weather Shield. Now that's an inviting color. Oops, pour-proof too. No drips. Now isn't that brilliant? Dulux Brilliant White Solid Emulsion by the looks of it. The neighbors would think she hired an interior decorator.
Hey, Moya, did you see where Gay Byrne is having a pile of Cork people up for the late show tonight?
I seen that in the paper, all right, Jack. But here, the likes of you and me won't be there. And do you know why, Jack?
Because we weren't invited?
Yeah, I know we weren't invited, Jack. But why weren't we invited? That's the question. I'll tell you why, Jack. Because the only people that Gay wants on that late show are clever dicks, dirty book writers and film stars and such like. Would you ever see the ordinary, ignorant, poor old slob in the late? No way. Cause Gay have no time for the really simple people.
I have, Moya. Sure, you often have politicians on the show.
And a fat lot of good, don't any of them. We'll never forget tonight that he invited on all the politicians. And then he brung in the fella Brown from that magazine, Magoo.
What about it anyway?
A couple of weeks later, there was a change of government. Imagine Gay was able to have one crowd put out and another crowd brought in on the strength of one late show. No. That's too much power for any one man, Chair. Too much power, man.
A change of government. Well, in that case, Garrett can be very fond of Gay Byrne.
Garrett would have Gay's guts for garters.
But on the other hand, Charlie Hockey thinks very highly of Gay Byrne.
The two men like that, look, Chair. When it is Gay is on top.
Incidentally, did you know that Charlie Hockey have gone into the film production business?
I saw.
He knows now what makes Gregory peck.
Well, you know, coming back to Gay, Chair, that man will have the health of the country destroyed. Will you ever forget that American bird here on? And she tried to put us all on a diet of vegetables. Don't you remember? She gave Gay a pineapple.
I wonder what she expected him to do with it. Well, listen, she done a lot of good for vegetables now. Because I seen on the paper the other day where Charlie Hockey offered Dick Burke a carrot.
And then Dick went mad on Brussels sprouts. But no. That crowd up in RTE, they're all left-wingers, you know. There's a clique of them there. There's a law unto themselves, boy.
And listen to me, morals?
None.
Morals?
None whatever, boy.
All the filth they show on the television.
Built and done, like Dallas and dysentery. People hopping all night. Filthy, Chair, filthy.
But I like it.
Yeah, I do too. You see, Chair, dirt is all right when it comes from America. But this when RTE tried to do it themselves, they should be ashamed of themselves, Chair. And Gay Byrne is the worst of the lot. Gay is totally uninhabited about the kind of stuff he put out on the late show. Do you remember that program he did on artificial
insinuation?
That was a disgrace, Jack. As decent, clean-living men, we are well off out of that late show.
We're well out of it, boy. Well out of it.
The late show, Chair, have become a platform for queer hawks, bear pots, and oddballs.
When you think of it so, isn't it a wonder he didn't invite us all to see him?
We're well out of it, Chair.
We're well out of it, boy.
And I'd love to let Gay know how we feel. And since he's so mad on people sending their messages in song, we'd sing a song for him too. Give us a sample, dear, what we might do, Chair.
For 20 long years, we've been watching Gay Byrne every Saturday night on the box.
And now, since he's failed to do us a good turn, we can tell him he's in for some shocks.
Yes, we think that Gaybo is a proper gazebo, and that information's for free.
So from now on, we say, we'll watch only match of the day on the banks of the old Valley.
That's him. That's him. That's him there.
Well, since you've got your say in like that, are you going to accompany anybody now on the piano? Go on back to the... Paddy Comerford. Ah, Paddy. What about Paddy? Have you met Mr. Duggan before?
Often.
What will you do for us, Paddy?
Well, I noticed there, Gay, earlier on in the evening that we were talking about, Chris was talking about the bishop, the two bishops. And I noticed that it's all about the north side, you know. And I'm lucky enough to come from the north side too. Not saying anything about the bishop. But I have a couple of stories, you wouldn't mind hearing them about the old north side and the famous sporting fraternity above the north side. And we have lovely little games like pigeon racing. You must try and visualise this scene now in a kind of up by the North Chapel of a Sunday morning. And this fella, we'll call him Peter. And he recorded the stories about the pigeons. And there was two famous places like Kerry Hall Road and the Burnley Lane. And they'd have kind of a league, like, you know, a racing league. And they'd have 12 races in the year, like a race a month. And anyway, didn't the Burnley Lane win 11 races out of the 12? And the Kerry Hall Road crew got kind of anxious about that because they claimed that they're the best pigeons in the world. So they decided to have a kind of an extraordinary general meeting to find out what the Burnley Lane were feeding their birds on. So with that, then they kind of nominated a delegate to go down to the Burnley Lane to see what the birds were being fed on. And they gave them travelling expenses and all. He had to pass 5 pubs. So anyhow, while he kind of got down to the Burnley Lane and he went up to this door and he kind of knocked at the letter box. And the voice came from inside. Who's there? This is Wally from the Kerry Hall Road Club. Where do I know? So eventually they opened the door and Wally went in with his cap in his hand and he says, lads, I'm down to ask you know, we have to admit defeat, but you have a fine flock of birds. But he wants to know just honestly, what are you feeding your birds on? Yeah, man, that's no secret. What we do in the morning, now you see about 5:45. We leave the bird out of their cages and from their perches, and they flies away up over the North Chapel, then over Shandon, and they kind of drops the wings for a bit by Shandon because that's not all crows, like, you know. And then he goes up by St. Vincent's Church up Sunday as well, and then they see Fitzgerald's Park, and they zooms into the park, they eats all the worms in the park, and then they comes back about 7:45 and they flies into the perch again, you see. And then we give them kind of a drop of water and then the breast are bursting out. And your man says, oh yeah, that's right. So your man goes back up to Fairhill to report to the extraordinary general meeting about the birds. And he was relating his story. And there was this small one in the corner, kind of very tissy. Doughton Thomas, and he related his story. She see, they're telling lies. She see, they couldn't be telling. I'm telling you, they're telling lies. Because I know it for a fact that Fitzgerald's Park don't open until 9 o'clock. But then, not to take any away from Fairhill, but there was a fellow above in Kerry Hall Road, they used to call him Bertie the Bird, because he was in charge of all the birds. Oh, you came by here now. But Bertie was in charge of the birds, like, but one of his birds, anyhow, wasn't he selected to fly for Ireland? An international race from Paris to Cork. So Bertie was very proud of this, so like he sent the bird away over to Paris, you know. And he was kind of worried about, he was kind of reluctant to sell him in a way, he said, because he was wondering about his pigeon over in Paris with all them French birds. So the race was to finish in Cork about 12:30 of a Monday morning, you know. And there was Bertie out all night in Kerry Hall Road, like, waiting for the birds to come. Oh! And Bertie, one cup of bottle after another cup of bottle out in the... No sign of the bird. 3 o'clock came, no sign of the bird. 4 o'clock came, no sign of the bird. Getting anxious, he said, he's after losing the fate. Over in Paris. So about 6:45 that Monday morning, all of a sudden he saw the flutter over Shandon. Oh, thanks, Betty. Us, he's nearly home. So he was watching the bird up right over the North Man, up in over Kerry Hall Road. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, love, come on, come on, come on. And as you know, the birds have to register by going through a small wire into their perch and their time is registered. But the bird was going very kind of very annoyed. And Bertie couldn't understand. Come on, love, come on, come on, come on. And the bird, and whatever look Bertie gave into the next yard, there was a big blue mouse. And knickers hanging out in the line and was frightening the birds. So eventually, about 8:30, the one Dosey Dial came out and with a bucket in her hand, you know. Sissy, excuse me now, Dosey. Not being personal, Sissy, but would you ever take down your knickers? I want to put me pigeon in. She turned around. God, Sissy. And I only came out for a bucket of coal.
I thought he was going to sing. I thought he was going to sing. Sonny Boy. Do Sonny Boy, Paddy. Do Sonny Boy, Paddy. Do Sonny Boy, Paddy. Go on, do Sonny Boy. Is it the original Sonny Boy we're talking about now?
No, the Cork version.
Oh, the Cork version of Sonny Boy. Not the Al Jolson version, no.
When there are grey skies, I don't mind those grey skies. You'll make them blue, Sonny Boy. Friends may forsake me, let them all forsake me. I'll still have you, Sonny Boy. You're sent from heaven, and I know your worth. You made a heaven for me right here on earth. When I'm old and gray, dear,
Promise you won't stray, dear. I need you, love, sunny boy. When there are gray skies,
What don't you mind in the least?
I don't mind those gray skies.
I'm mobile, I do to them.
You make them blow,
Huh? What's my name?
sunny boy.
I'm mobile, friend do to.
Friends may forsake me.
What do you let them do?
Let them all forsake me.
And who will still have in the end?
I'll still have you,
What's my name?
sunny boy.
Where am I sent from?
You're sent from heaven,
And have I any special valuation?
and I know you're warm.
What did I make?
You made a heaven
For who right where I'm black?
for me right here on earth.
God bless me.
When I'm old and gray, dear,
Want me to promise you something?
promise you won't stray, dear.
Give me a good reason.
I need you so,
What's my name?
sunny boy.
That was young. As Paddy Comerford, where did you get all the talent in the name of God? How did it all come out?
Dave,
What?
one of the things that are rare about Cork is nicknames.
Yes.
I suppose every city is the same, but Cork particularly has nicknamed. And Bill, I think, knows a fair bit about the nicknames that are associated with things.
All cities have nicknames, but in Cork straight away, I can start off and you can all hip on. You have Moley Makes.
Rubber tires.
Rubber tires. Ducky in the wardrobe. There's a beauty. Connie Balti.
Slugs in the gallon.
Don't cry for me, Connie Balti.
Slobby Malone.
Slobby Malone. I was going to keep Slobby till last. Dickie Glue. Remember Slobby, you do?
Yeah.
There was we all know Slobby Malone's and cocktails, don't we, really? There was about 5 or 6 sons of the Slobby himself, right? He had 6 sons, right? And they never walked in their lives, though. Never walked. All the work they did was they minding cars at matches outside the opera house, you know. So the father, when one of the sons got married, you know, as a wedding present, he gave his son the right-hand side of the South Mall. There's a story told that when the father was very bad, they sent for the doctor, right? So the doctor was upstairs, and all the sons were downstairs waiting there on the nose above the doctor. So the doctor came down, and the eldest son said to him, "Well, doctor, what's the news? I have very bad news for you," says the doctor. "Your father will never walk again." One more fantastic story about the Slobby Malones. He was living in the north side. Right there, Tobin? The north side? Up in Grand.
But they used to work in the south side.
Well, that's the only place there was money, Joe.
Commuters. No, Bill, that's the only place there was soft money.
Slobby was going up in the...
They were living in Spangle Hill, actually.
Huh?
They were living in Spangle.
What's up in Spangle Hill?
Spangle Hill.
Well, he was going up the Spangle Hill bus on Saturday night. Slobby, you know, right? He's in the last bus, he's sitting down, like, you know. And the conductor, "Fares, please," and Slobby's, "Cheers, yeah, what a driver." What a driver. And fares, yeah, what a driver. And the conductor said to him, "Slob, what's your problem?" "I tell you what he is, me," says he. "Yeah, what a driver." "Didn't your driver know at all he was driving the bus?" "I tell you no, me problem. I was outside the opera house this morning." "Yeah, what a driver." And an American came along, he says, "You know, the old job I have there, minding the cars." And an American came along, says he, with a car, says he, that width and that length. "Yeah, what a driver." And see, he tried to back it into a space that size. "Mr. America," says I, "if you back that car in there, here, I'll kiss your ass." "Here, what a driver."
Dave, do you want to sing with Mary?
I'd love to sing with
Would
Mary.
you like to
I'd
sing
love
with
to
Mary? A duet.
We'd love
Now,
We don't like to sing with Mary.
No, we want a high-class duet this time. None of this rubbish now. No, a high-class duet this time.
We have a lovely one from Bless the Bride called This Is My Love. And isn't it, Cork? Isn't this our lovely day?
I've never
Thanks to
heard
Gate.
Mary too. Who's Frank again? What would we do without you, Frank? There's no doubt. A hard-working Frank. A hard-working Frank indeed. Is it really going to be... This is my lovely day. Very good.
This is my lovely day. This is the day I shall remember, the day I'm dying. They can't take this away. It will be always mine, the sun and the wine, the seabirds crying.
All happiness must pay, and who can tell if fate means well or the sky is lying? Just to look at me and say, you will remember too that this was our lovely day.
I'll remember when the time has come for happiness to pay. Sad and sighing, old and dying, I'll remember how we loved our lovely day. I'll remember when the time has come for happiness to pay. Sad and sighing, old and dying, I'll remember how we loved our lovely day. Our lovely day. Our lovely
Lovely. That was David McInerney and Mary Toomey with, again, Frank Duggan at the piano. I think Frank Duggan deserves a round of applause. He really does. Well done, Frank. Smashing bit of piano player. Sit down. Now, Billa, you have played the Dame time and time again in shows. Yes. Now, I don't believe that there aren't stories of things that happen to you.
It's his legs, you know. It's his legs. He's got the legs.
He's a lovely dancer.
He is, lovely move.
Oh, I can't even walk. But do you think there's something wrong with playing the Dame, do you?
No, but I feel that something...
I thought I was that way for a while.
I'm going to make you queer in the end.
Don't misunderstand.
I was worried for a while with you.
No. But I mean, surely things must happen to you, especially when you're playing the Dame.
Let me think. Well, you know, just before you'd open a show, open a pantomime, open a summer revel show, you know, you'd have your gear at home, you know, you're getting your wigs and ready and the dresses ready. And a little thing happened to my daughter one time, you know, just getting ready for the show, my wife decided I needed a new bra. Right?
Yeah. And did you?
Well, I did. You're enjoying yourself, there's my hair. There's Martinotti now for you. And the Gilbert and Sullivan. But my wife decided I needed a new bra, so she got a new bra, and naturally bras must be stuffed. You know, girls, we have to stuff the bra.
They all do it.
So, most natural thing. No, in my house, it's natural thing to have daddy's bra be hanging up around the place. So my daughter, who was walking in town at the time, Nell said, would you drop into Cash's, she said, and get something for daddy's bra. So there was a young one walking with her. And she said, I must take a break during my lunch hour. Where are you going? She said, I'm going down to Cash's. And the young child said to Judith, she said, what for? She must go down and buy rubbers for daddy's bra. So the child thought Judah was retarded, the fact that she was going down. That's the only story I have.
There must be anything.
I said his legs were his back.
Yeah. No, but not only that, the bras are a bit of a problem, but he wears an 18-hour Playtex as well. And he generally gives up after 2 hours. But he has a very good story, Gay, about a very well-known suburb in Cork called Ballyfihan. Yeah. Anybody here from Ballyfihan? Anybody from Ballyfihan? Yeah. One from Ballyfihan over there. Two from Ballyfihan.
And one behind you.
And one behind.
One behind.
That's the majority in Ballyfihan.
Bill, you have an audience.
Ballyfihan.
You have an audience.
That's water, that's water.
That's
yeah.
water.
Are you not having a drink, Billa? God, you sell the stuff, you might as well taste it now. I'm sure it's all right.
Will I do it here?
You do it wherever you want there. You are like
Will you forget that you're here in Studio 1, is it?
This Studio 1, yes.
And forget that you're here in Studio 1 and come with me to a place called Ballyfihan. And I will tell you about a holy or a party that my mother gave in our kitchen in New Year's Eve in a place called Ballyfihan. Now, I'm sure that you've never met me, but I'm known as Gussie Cahan. I was born in the flat of the city. We have a house now in Ballyfihan. Now, I'm not going to give you me history, but I'll ask you the facts to believe when I'll tell you the holy in our house what me may give in New Year's Eve. They see me brother, he was just home from Dagenham, and to make sure he wouldn't feel dull, me dad says, we'll throw an old holy before he goes back to John Bull. We invited all our neighbours, and we told them dear friends to tell, and we even invited Aunt Aggie, and she's from Sunday as well. Well, here, the talent that night was smashing. We had tenors and we had crooners like Bing. And if Joe Lynch was there that evening, we wouldn't have asked him to sing. Me dad, he was drinking all evening. He came home, it was about 9:30, but 'twas Beamish what won the old battle. He collapsed and we sang Old Lang Syne. No, me mother sprung up from the corner and she called me deaf for a stave. And our beagle what knew what was coming, with his tail need his legs took his leg. Me father stood up with a stagger. All right, says he, what'll it be? And me mother, as proud as a peacock, says to beg for me one lovely lead. Well, the law preserve us, but he started his singing. Me poor Aunt Aggie turned blue. And how he sang Cork's ancient anthem, I'll explain. That's if I can for you. Now, the a lover, the wild red, the bangs, your lovely lady. The dog in the air kept on holding. Me father says, let me get out. And me mother, she bounced in his bald head. Sit down, she said, I'd break your mouth. Now, I doubt if you met me sister. She's the eldest. You know Lizzie, me, eh? Well, she was dying to bring her fella, and she was asking me mother all day. So when we heard the knock at the front door, we knew that the lovebirds were there. And me mate says, no, I want no black curtain. And I hope I makes myself clear. May God rest the heroes of Ireland, who for our customs and freedom are brave. But if they saw Lizzie May's fella, they'd surely turn in their graves. He had hair. His hair was like Yule Brenner's. His nose and his ears were like pigs. He was dressed like a young undertaker, with his trousers so tight round his legs. Me mother got all kind of flustered. My God, she said, yeah. You're a proper old top. And me there shouts, he's like a coat hanger. Or a straw hanging down from my loft. Well, here, I thought me dad would be sent to the cleaners. But 'twas Lizzie kept her blood bay. And she, if he'll all keep a cool head, her dinny would sink straight away. 'Twas me brother what called for the order. And me father's twice for the glee. Then dinny, with the walk of a ball player, he announced that he sing, I'll try Cattery. No, I'm calling for you, my beloved, what shall I do? You break my heart, my love is all and only for you. Then a neighbor turned to me brother, and she, you're escaping too long. So stand up, me boy, on your hind legs, and sing us a fine Irish song. Me brother got all kind of awkward. No, she, yeah. I hope you don't call me a lawyer, but the lads what I works with in Dagenham, they says me voice is like Brendan Byers. Well, here, he started his roaring and screeching. We all broke into a skit, and the house broke in from the backyard. 'Twas the dog in another fit. Well, Erin, all the way home, oh, just to tell you I'm sorry. Oh, please stay. And I ran all the way. And I ran all the way. Me mother sat there looking speechless. And me father collapsed on the mat. So come here, I want you. They must have been from the children to rear an old easy like that. But there's one thing I'll always remember, and it gives me poor heart to thrill. Well, I think some one of me neighbours who danced the reel with great skill. She made me feel proud I was Irish. She enchanted me more and more. And when I tried to be certain after, I was like Mike Murphy, and he flaked in the floor.
Chin up, Willie, chin up, chin up.
Chin up, his stomach in.
We can't follow that. Give him a chance to get his breath back. We can't follow that for the moment. Take another break, and we'll be back to you in a few minutes. All right, thank you. Well done. Thank you.
Very funny way of talking. They talk too fast.
Can you do a bit of their accent?
Oh, wait a sec. I'm sure I can. No, I can't. I don't know. You can't really understand them when they're talking. They're singing. They're singing more than talking.
Can you do a bit of their accent?
No, I can't.
What kind of quality springs to mind when you think of Cork people?
I don't know, really. You don't know because, you know,
it's very hard to talk to them. Like, you know, I wouldn't like to have a long conversation because I wouldn't know what they'd be saying for a start. Like, it's like if they're singing a song the whole way through. They're sly and cute.
When you ask them which way to go, you know, as a foreigner, they take their time, they explain, and they include lots of little stories, happenings, and opinions of their, which shows their own personality, and I think the great sense of humor they have.
I think they're a nice race of people, you know.
Any particular qualities that springs to mind about them?
Well, there is one man that I follow, and that's Liam O'Murray, you know, because you learn you can get the basics of the Irish and the English together, you know.
I had that incident in Rome. I was approached by a West Cork man for directions, and I didn't know. I thought he was a foreigner, actually.
Well, when a Cockman comes to Dublin, he throws a stone in the Liffey. And if it swims, if it sinks, if it floats, he goes back home.
Maybe it's to do with the southern end of the country, that they have this milder conditions down there. They seem to be more pleasant.
No. Of course they're cold sheets. And from outside Dublin, anyone outside Dublin's a cold sheet.
No, I'm not keen on it.
Think they're mean?
Yeah, very mean. Most country people are in a certain way, like, they're very cute and cunning and all that. They say that here in Dublin anyway, because they take the walk on the Dublin people, like, you know.
They're all lovely. I wouldn't really know what to say. I couldn't do an accent, you know. I find it hard to get an accent myself.
Why are you saying that about them?
Because they're next to carrying their beers in the all over of every year.
Disgraceful that anybody from Dublin should accuse ye of being mean and sly.
Well, ironically, Gay, if that is true, and I don't believe it for a minute, the most popular outsider in Cork is always a Dublin man.
Huh?
A Dublin man in Cork is always, he's very popular. Every door is open to him.
And the further
because no, serious. I've always found that rather strange. But I think it's a peculiar sort of a thing in the Cork character that says, well, sure, most of us are walking up in Dublin, like, must be nice to the Dublin fellas when they're here.
I suppose so.
I think that's a lot of it, you know.
Yeah. Listen, why is a gentleman called Naoise Comerford so famous?
Because
he's the greatest.
You want to know? He was the greatest. You want to know the real reason?
Who will tell me?
You want to know the real reason?
You give me one reason, Joe.
I was probably the first person here to work with him. And he was probably, you know, the best Dame, with all due respect. Bill, you wouldn't mind, would you?
Don't be silly.
You wouldn't. I mean, he was the best Dame comic I've ever seen. And then he could turn around after pantomime and play straight roles, you know, anything. He wasn't big. He was limited by his appearance and his long blonde hair. But I saw him play Hamlet, you know.
Chris, what do you say about Naoise?
I thought that he was the best. He was the best instinctive comic I've ever met. Even in.
Should I shake this gentleman's hand?
Yes. And listen, Gay, remember, yes. He was a very fine bantamweight boxer as well.
And he was also a very good actor.
Excellent straight actor.
Good day to you, sir, and God save you, and how are you? And it is a pleasure to greet you to our studio tonight. Are you suitably embarrassed and shy to hear these tributes paid to you?
Yes, yes.
You weren't expecting it?
No.
Well, they think highly of you. What do you say about it? What do you say about it, Billa? What do you say about Naoise?
Right, you know, I go to the pantomime every year and do Dame, but Naoise, in his time, I'd be here tomorrow night calling out the shows he played in, and he was going to Fesh Matthew, and like you have in your, that's what you're having there tonight, he was winning Fesh Matthew year in senior elocution. You name it, Shakespeare, he was an all-round genius. And Gay, outside of that, he's a very fine fella, is Naoise Comerford.
And what? You had a stroke, Naoise. Did you have?
The years 53.
53. And it sort of put paid to all of that, did it? Yeah, but how are you now?
Yes, all right.
You're all right. Just not as fast.
Whiskey and all
We can organise that, if you mean it. Have you got one?
No.
Why haven't you got one? Why not now? Mary O'Sullivan, if you're there, would you kindly provide a glass of Irish paddy whiskey for that gentleman there now? Straight away. Straight away. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. While we're organising that, now, Donal, Crosby and George are here. Now, Donal, have you got something for us? First of all, Donal, as an antidote to what you just heard on the phone from the Dublin people about the Cork people, you had a nice experience today. Very briefly, just listen to this, and it'll put shame on all the Dublin people for saying things like that.
Very briefly.
Very briefly.
Yes. This morning I had a motor car which had no starter. It broke, right?
Yes.
And I was staying in a hotel. May I mention it?
You may mention
Burlington.
the hotel. The Burlington.
And I asked for a jump leads to, I thought the battery was down. Every taxi driver outside the Burlington. It was like a major surgical operation. They all came in to help me. They gave me addresses of people to get my starter fixed on the north side, and you name it. I've never had so much kindness from, we thought we were good in Cork. The Dubliners are far better.
That's nice of you to say.
And may I say, just to complete the story, Gay, I went up to Dorset Lane and I met a young man called Tony. This was to try and get the starter fixed. Mind you, my starter isn't fixed. That's not their fault. And I went down to a pub called, I think it was Doodie's. Somebody in Dorset Street, would you know it? And the young man gave me my normal potion, and he said that was a certain price. And the second fellow said, when I had the second one, he said, well, what did he charge you? I said, well, he charged me X. He said, you know, I think that was too much. And gave me 20 pence back.
You're joking.
I am absolutely true. And the man's name is Brendan in Doodie's of Dorset.
God, they'll do fantastic business.
Well, now, when we talk about Cork,
fantastic. If that's what they do. Donal, Crosby and George, two handsome, talented young men. Would you get up and do something? I want to hear it. Now, I want to hear this. Whatever it is you have in your repertoire, you can... You've never been known to use it in your life, Donal.
Hello there, stranger, how do you do? There's something I've got to say to you. Don't be surprised, you're recognized. I'm no detective, but I've just surmised. You're from the place where I long to be. Your smiling face seems to say to me, you're from my own land, my sunny homeland. Tell me, can it be? Are you from Dixie? I said from Dixie, where the fields of cotton beckon to me. I'm glad to see you. Tell me how be you, and all the friends I'm longing to see. If you're from Alabama or Tennessee or Caroline, anywhere the south of Mason-Dixon line. So you're from Dixie? I said from Dixie. Well, I'm from Dixie too. Thousands of years ago and maybe more, I was on an island on a lonely shore. Robinson Crusoe landed one fine day with no rent to pay and no wife to obey. His good man Friday was his only friend. They didn't borrow or lend. They built a little house, lived there till Friday, but Saturday night it was shut. So where did Robinson Crusoe go with Friday on Saturday night? Every Saturday night they would start up to roam, and Sunday morning they'd come staggering home. On this island of wild men in Canada, where there are wild men, there must be wild women. So where did Robinson Crusoe go with Friday and Saturday night? Crusoe was a good old scout. Robinson Crusoe knew his way about. He'd go a-hunting chickens now and then, but he knew when he was chasing a hen. Once he told Friday, you must stay at home. I've got to go out alone. Friday looked very blue, said it is wrong of you. Couldn't you fix it for two? So, where did Robinson Crusoe go from Friday that Saturday night? When he started away, he was tattered and torn. His best Sunday breeches were held up with a thorn. When the next day he returned to his mountain, there was evidence someone had sewed on a button. Where did Robinson Crusoe go from Friday that Saturday night? I love that dear old home of mine. I love that simple country town. I seem to hear the old folks calling, say, come right back to where the birds sing all day long, and where the sun will always shine. I like the waving corn where I was born. I love that dear old home of mine. I love that dear.
I love the city where the girls are very pretty and I do like the life up in town.
I love that simple.
I love the hustle and the bustle and the tussle and I love to hear the rustle of a car.
I seem to hear.
I love the ladies and I'm always playing Hades. I'm going to make them shine. I'm going to buy a wine. Sky the limits and we'll trim it to the maze. And I'm telling you of the lavender.
To where the birds
I know the best way you see the pretty faces and the music and laughter and song.
And when the sun
we won't go home this morning till the break days shine. Come on along, come on along.
I like the way.
Tilly, you're a filly, you're a pretty little filly.
Where I was born.
I love that
Dear old home of mine. Especially requested by the RTE authority, Donald.
No, actually, one of my friends who I met yesterday.
One of your friends who you met yesterday.
Yeah.
Special request.
Yeah. Yes, and it's a very short song. It takes 35 seconds.
Oh, the vicar of the country church was curate said in fun, I bet I'll kiss more girls than you, and the curate said it's done. We'll stand at the gate of the churchyard, this will be the sign. You'll say ding dong to the girl to kiss, I'll say ping pong for mine. Ding dong, ping pong. There were more ding dongs than there were ping pongs. Just then a pretty little thing came along. The curate said ding dong. Hold hard, said the vicar, that's not fair. That's my wife, I do declare. Not the curate, I don't care. She's a ding dong, ding ding dong.
George, can I ask you, is it true that your dad, Lord rest him, used to sing all of those songs?
Every one of them. That's where we got them all, yes.
Got them all from the...
And from the time you were a boy, he used to sing those at parties and hoolies and things?
Absolutely, yes.
And did he play piano?
No, he wasn't a very good musician, but he was very keen that Donald should be a good musician.
Yes.
He was very good at lyrics. He used to write lyrics, and he used to go to parties, dinners, and write the topical song and sing it then.
And did he play banjo or anything?
He played the banjo.
He played banjo.
Played the
and he
banjo,
sang-
yes.
And
I think most of the music that Donald has, I don't have much of it, comes from my mother's side.
Yes.
She was, I think, probably more musical than father, although he was better at the words.
And do you have all the sheet music, Donald, of all of those songs tucked away somewhere?
He was joking.
No, okay, that's somewhere along the line, yeah. They're there. But, you know, my father used to sit us down and he used to say, now, you two sit down here. This is a song you learn.
Yeah.
You get the words right, you get the harmony right. And this is what he used to do. I was lucky enough to have a gift. As you can see, I did very little work on the piano. But in fact, no, my father must have been a great influence on that.
It's a lovely way to learn them. They're great old songs.
And
really
I thank
terrific.
George. He writes the words, and sometimes he gets me on the piano when we do that little bit.
Smashing, smashing.
Thank you.
You should be grateful to your daddy, so you should. Lord rest him.
I mentioned to George tonight. I remember the first time the commander was singing. They were quite young then. We were all young then. And he forgot the words. And one of these two hoodlums there started prompting him in the word, I think it was the West Virginia mountains. And he turned to his wife and said, "Let's face it, dear, our boys are growing up."
Now listen, have we Sean O'Shea with us? Where is Sean?
Oh, Sean, big.
Welcome to you, Sean. Nice to have you with us. I just feel that we're in the mood for one of your little songs. What would this be now?
Tonight I'd like to do something a little different, Bantry Bay.
Bantry Bay, and our own Frank McNamara on piano. All right, thank you.
As I'm sitting all alone in the gloaming, it might have been but yesterday that we watched the fisher sails all homing till the little herring fleet at anchor lay. Then the fisher girls with baskets swinging came running down the old stone way. Every lassie to her sailor lad was singing, "How welcome back to Bantry Bay." Then we heard the piper's sweet notes tuning, and all the lassies turned to hear, as they mingled with a soft voice crooning, till the music floated down the wooden pier. "Save you kindly, Colleen's all," said the piper, "hands across and trippet wide I play, and the tender sound of song and merry dancing stole softly over Bantry Bay. As I'm sitting all alone in the gloaming, the shadows of the past draw near, and I see the gentle faces round me that used to glad the old brown pier. Some are gone upon their last loved homing, some are left, but they are old and grey, and we're waiting for the tide in the gloaming to sail along the great highway to the land of rest unending, all peacefully from Bantry
upon Dan Collin, please. Where is Dan Collin? Dan, come out here now. And do your thing. Whatever it is you're going to do for us, Dan, do for us, please.
Should I bow to the 7 high priests? Yes. I got you all right shoulder there, I can tell you. Between slagging bishops and stuffing brass, there'll be letters flying in the paper, I'm telling you. The paper will be full of them. But so, you know, you're all talking about Cork, city, north sides, but what about West Cork? What about way down to Macroom? There was a fella down there one time, and he was in the furniture trade. And he had a great year in the furniture trade. So off to Paris with him. So he came back, you see, and the lads were anxious to know how he got on in Paris. So says Patrick to him, how did you get on at all, see, and you without a word of the language on you? Gotta find out, see, find out. Didn't I meet a girl down in the park, see, and I drew a card, you see, and she nodded and off with us in a taxi. And then I drew some cutlery and plates, you see, and she nodded again and off with us, and we had dinner. And then I drew 2 people dancing, you see, and she nodded again and off with us to the disco. But then, didn't she take out the Pigeon Louis herself and draw a big double bed? Oh, says Patrick, wasn't she cunning? How well she knew you were in the furniture trade. A very true story. True as I'm having a bath at the moment. This happened. And it happened up in Collins's barracks. This is our military establishment in Cork. Right on top of Military Hill, up there, Collins's barracks. And up there, a platoon of C Company B Battalion. They won the All-Ireland shoot. They were the best bangers in the army. So they get 48 hours furlough. They all go downtown, they're all due back Wednesday, 24 hours there you are. And they're all back, except 4. These 4 characters turn up on Friday. And they know they're in trouble, they're in dire trouble. So they say, look, we'll get a story and stick to this story come hell or high water and we'll be okay. Now, 3 of them are very good friends, no problem there, but the 4th fella isn't very paper, as they say, like, don't mind him. Just 3, don't worry him if they can pup's chance. Leave him alone, he's all right. So they're up before the green table Monday morning, something like this. All right, thanks very much, sir, for the 48 hours off, like. We went downtown, we had a few jars. We were fired out about 11 o'clock, sir, and there wasn't a bus in Pan. Not even a taxi, sir. But up in the bridge, up in the Father Matthew statue, sir, there was a sidecar, all ready for the road, like. We all got aboard, sir, over the bridge. We're halfway up the steep hill, sir, the horse dropped dead. You might build it next. You know what? I saw it. I the same as me past, so we all went downtown, we had a few jars. We fired out about 11 o'clock. That's a bloody bus to be saved. But don't be the temperate fella, don't be him. There's a sidecar all ready for the road, off the bridge. Halfway up the steep hill, so the horse dropped dead. You mightn't believe next! You know what? And the 10 o'clock and his truth, so we were all fluted downtown. We were fired out about 11 o'clock. One bus was not happened to be seen. But up in the bridge, sir, up in the non-point and fell up in him. There's a giant all cattle for the road, sir, off the bridge, not problem. Halfway up the steep hill, sir, the giant dropped dead. You might be next! You know what? Should take it! So I wasn't with them at all. As a matter of fact, sir, I doesn't drink or smoke. I went to the pictures. I came out about 11 o'clock. I don't know what you're saying about buses. I got a bus straight away. We'd have been home long ago, so we couldn't get up Military Hill with all the fucking dead horses. Well, of course, before it was Collins's barracks, it was Victoria Barracks. When we had the Empire, Karachi, the Punjab, Falkland Islands, ballet tactics, I was in the army, cavalry of course, known far and wide as the Galloping Major. When I in the army, I was a cavalryman, you know. And whenever I went on parade, a magnificent picture I made. With me galloping here, this ridiculous habit I got. And I vow to you now that I'm galloping yet, whether up in the saddle or not. And the folks, they all stare at me so. It matters not where I may go. It's hey, bumpity, 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 bump, as if I were riding me charger. Bumpity, 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 bump, as gay as an Indian barger. All the folks declare that I'm the girl stager. Hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the galloping major. I'd asked dear, I said I'd treat myself to a holiday by the sea. So I went and my quarters I fixed, but I found that the bathing was mixed. So I galloped away to a bathing machine in the busiest part of the day. And I soon felt at home with the girls in the water and joined in their frivolous play. Oh, they were beautiful creatures, well, yeah, they giggled as soon as they saw. Bumpity, 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 bump, as if I were riding me charger. Bumpity, 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 bump, as gay as an Indian barger. All the folks declare that I'm the girl stager. Hey, hey, clear the way, here comes the galloping major. I don't tell everyone, but still I was married some time ago. I regret of the matter to speak. We were only together a week. I endeavored, of course, to make Gwendolyn happy, but one day, alas and alack, that impulsive young creature ran home to her mother and told her she'd never go back. When I said no, and I thought that was rough, she replied that she had quite enough of me. Bumpity, 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 bum, as if I were riding me charger. Bumpity, 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 bump, as gay as an Indian barger. All the folks declare that I'm the girl stager. Hey, ho, clear the way, here comes the galloping major.
Thank you very much, Dan. Well done. Well done. And was Dan Collin, otherwise known in Dublin as Dan Coughlin. Well, there you are, you can't account for these things. Listen, Billa, I want to hear your story about the widow.
The widow?
The widow.
Yeah. The last time I was here in the Late a couple of years ago with you, remember we were speaking about different humours of different places. And this, on my word of honour, this really happened to me, you know. On my... Get away, you long... Well, on my ward, I was up in Blackpool, and I met a woman, and she came up by, she signed the late the night, you were talking about different stories that happened and didn't happen. Well, there was a neighbour up next to me in Dominic Street, up by the old butter market. And she was married to an old pig of a fella, an old King Kong of a fella. He used to come home, every Friday. There were about 14 to 15 children, and he used to come home every Friday night and dropped a couple of shillings, beat the wife and frighten the children. Anyway, she did tell the truth, he died sudden. And the neighbours came in to lay him out and let him lay down, and there were only 2 rooms out, the old kitchen and the bedroom, and when they were laid out, the neighbours came in to pay the bit of respect, you see. And this one came in, and he was laid out, and she came in, and she put out her hand, and they was doing it up by the fire. And she goes up to her, no, Anisha, he's still warm. Hot or cold, he's gone out that door tonight. And my word of honour, that happened now. Hot or cold, he's gone out that door tonight.
No, the one in the hotel who got the job overseas, what was that about?
God, could I tell that I can?
Yeah, of course you can, why not? I don't know it. I don't know it.
The kids are still out of the chip shop. Very prominent hotel in Cork, a manager is there, and there was people on the telly who were speaking about Cork people being mean.
Right, yes.
And this person had a very, very mean name. Now, I'm not saying she had, but I was told she had from the staff, you see. And they'd finish late dances, late functions, and instead of getting a cup of tea and a sandwich, they got a cup of tea and a woodbine, you see. So the hotel was sold, and there was Giovanna, she was doing her best, falling man and by the door. Come here, she had the hotel is sold, she. Come here, where's Giovanna going to? She, I heard she's going to Bangladesh. She gotta help him out there, she. They were now about hunger or something, she goes out there.
Who will introduce me to Christy Morris? Christy Morris, you. You'll introduce me to Christy Morris, yes.
A number of years ago, Gay, I came across Christ, one of the nicest guys you can meet. He has never yet said anything nasty about anybody. One of the finest tenor voices in this country. He's over there and he's singing you a lovely song.
Christy Morris, come out to us. Does he work for the brewery?
No, thank God, no.
No, he doesn't. Christy, pleased to meet you, and how are you? I haven't met you before, but I'm delighted to meet you now. What are you going to sing for us?
Martha.
Martha. Ah, very good. And you know Mr. Duggan, of course. Indeed, indeed. Sure, what would give him difficulty about it? So there you are.
Martha, rambling rose of the wild wood. Martha, with your fragrance divine. Rosebud, since the days of my childhood, watched you bloom in the wild wood, and I hoped you'd be mine, Martha. Now your eyes beam at twilight, sparkling like each dewdrop at dawn. Martha, when I look for your love light, I awake with a sigh, and I find you are gone. All in vain I've been dreaming of a love light that's beaming. In my dreams I caress you, in my arms fondly press you. Now my hoping is ended, it was never intended. You are coquetting, I keep forgetting, but you're not letting me, dear Martha, rambling rose of the wild wood. Martha, with your fragrance divine. Rosebud, since the days of my childhood, must you bloom in the wild wood, and I would be mine, Martha. Now your eyes beam at twilight, sparkling like each dewdrop at dawn. Martha, when I look for your love light, I awake with a sigh, and I find you
Don't stray too far away, Frank. We need you. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you that it's been the quickest 2 hours that we've had on The Late Show in a long, long time. It really has. 3 things I want to thank very, very much indeed, particularly our panel for coming and joining us, and all the people who so beautifully entertained us here tonight. Thank you very much indeed. It's lovely to have had you, and thank you. Also, I think it is only fair to say a word of thanks to Mr. Tony Halpin of Beamish and Crawford, who in many ways helped us with this show tonight, down there and organising it and all of that sort of thing. Thank you very much indeed, Tony, for your various facilities. And finally, finally, Mr. McInerney, who is in the quartet for the gendarme?
Well,
there's yourself.
Yeah, there's Chris Sheehan.
Chris Sheehan.
Chris Morris.
Chris Morris. There's Chris Morris.
Donald Keneally lurking up there all the time.
Donald Keneally up
He's a lurker.
All right, now will you go forward, please, and do the bold gendarme?
And this is like Offenbach never wrote it.
Never wrote this.
Wrote.
Do you mean you take liberties with this song?
Very much.
I see. With slight liberties being taken then with an old favourite here. Oh, hats and everything. Oh, there's costumes and everything for this. Oh, they're grand out. There you are. We're right. All together now. Here we go. Get fell in there.
We're public guardians, bold yet wary, and of ourselves we take good care. To risk our precious lives we're sharing, when danger lurks we're never there. But when we meet a helpless woman, or little boys who do no harm, we run them in, we run them in, we run them in, we run them in, we show them we're the bold gendarme. We run them in, we run them in, we run them in, we show them we're the bold gendarme. Sometimes our duty's extramural, and little butterflies we chase. We like to gamble in things rural, commune with nature face to face. Then to our beats led back returning, we face by nature's early charm. We run them in, we run them in, we run them in, we run them in, we show them we're the bold gendarme. We run them in, we run them in, we run them in, we run them in, we show them we're the bold gendarme. If gentlemen should make a riot and punch each other's heads at night, we're quite disposed to keep it quiet, provided that they make it right. But if they do not seem to see it, give to us a proper turn. We're on them in, we're on them in, we're on them in, we're on them in, we show them we're the bold gendarme. We're on them in, we're on them in, we're on them in, we're on them in, we show them we're the bold
David, take us out with the banks. The banks, Frank. Take us out with the banks, with everybody joining in. Here we go now. You all know it. You all know it. The banks. Oh, lovely.
That was a repeat showing of The Late Late Show, which was first broadcast on the 17th of April, 1982.